Hello everyone, welcome to Scorched Toys at Anymoon.com's transformation guide for TakaraTomy and Hasbro's Masterpiece Optimus Prime / Convoy toys. This is the newer mold, the second mold, the more recent mold. So let's go through how to transform them for those of you who are missing your instruction manual or don't own the toy and just want to check out what it's like. You begin by bringing up the elbow and revealing this trap door underneath. It can be a little tough to pop open, but when you do, it will look like that. And you can then spin the fist upward and around, close the door, and you will see the fist lines up perfectly with the little notch for it. You can then also pop out this elbow piece. A little stiff. So that's the elbow piece popped out, and pop in the arm into that upper shoulder plate. So again, pop open trap door, spin fist around, close trap door, pop open elbow louver, pop arm up. Next, we turn our attention to the legs. You're going to bring the shin guard forward and just rotate it around so it's in between the legs. This has a peg and slots, and this is what allows you to then connect the legs to each other. So you want to get everything all nice and lined up, and then apply pressure inward, and you should hear a nice click telling you that it's worked. If you don't worry about it too much at this point. Turn the toy around. These are buttons. You need to push down on these buttons and then use a finger to pull the toy downward. Okay. Once it starts to go, he will go all the way. So now we have a shrunken Optimus Prime, which you could then rotate around at the waist and then bring up the fuel tanks. They have a slot dedicated just for them. So as you pull them forward on their hinge, they will go into that slot. Again, your legs might pop apart on you. You can just pull them back together. You then take these edge flaps, bring them down and over, fully exposing your wheels, and at this point you can collapse the feet and then slide the feet toward each other. Now there's a slider mechanism at the top of the feet. You can see there are pegs and slots in the feet themselves, so they complement the pegs and slots in the calves, and hopefully this back section now will be pretty well locked together. Optimus now looks something like this. You can open up his chest, and then you'll see there's this peg here. You want to pull forward on that peg while you kind of push back with your knuckle, and that will free up the torso. And now turning the toy sideways, you'll see there's a swing arm with two pivot points, a peg that goes into a slot. So I bring this out, there's this big peg. This is a nice metal chunk here. There's this big peg that's going into this slot. There's also these pegs on the back, which are going into this slot here. So you have two pegs and slots that are going to work together to kind of lock things into place for the cab. Alright, for this next step, you're going to have pieces along the back that are going to rotate out and away. So you have this torso section on a pivot point at the bottom, and you can just free it up and bring it down. But as you do, you want to watch the back, because as it comes forward, it's going to want to run into your arm. So you're going to have to kind of wiggle jiggle a little bit just to free it up. Make sure you've got the clearance there. It shouldn't be too difficult, but just bring it down. So I'm a little hung up there, so I want to make sure I've got the clearance I need to get those two things all the way out. Now I'm going to go ahead and rotate them forward. As I do, I'll get to a point where I can't go any further. Obviously, I don't want to apply too much pressure. You are going to pull these pieces, these chrome pieces, very stiff chrome pieces, all the way forward, like that. See this nice reel open there. So again, go this way with it. Open these pieces up. Continue rotating around. You could see that this becomes the wheel well for the front wheel. So you want to have those guys out. Next you want to open up this area here. Now there's two pieces here, and you want to have them both open. So there's a chrome plate and a black plate. Hopefully they both swing up at the same time for you, because if they don't, it can be a real pain in the butt to get that black plate up. This does expose the matrix. The matrix can stay in the toy the whole time. Also, if you had the gun in the bot mode stowed in the back, that can stay in the whole time. There's nothing stopping you. Alright, so now we can bring down the front. Now again, you want to have these things out. Maybe rotate them up a little bit. So now we could bring the front all the way down until it stops and kind of locks into place a little bit. And now we can rotate Optimus's head down. And you want to have a nice smooth plate up at the top. And then you can bring his cabin back together like that. And now we are ready to get on to the toughest part of transformation, and that is rotating the arms into place. There are two pegs that make this next step pretty tricky. The first is this peg right here, and the second is this peg right here. So you have a peg that's kind of getting in the way of where the arm wants to move vertically, and you have a peg that'll get in the way of where it wants to move in the back here. So between those two pegs, you need to navigate this arm back, and you can see that extension piece is going to make it so the arm is way aft of where it needs to be. And you're going to have to swing this piece around, and there's that peg which now needs to get underneath. So I think talking about these things often makes them worse. You can see also the wheel well is a very tight fit right there. I can pull it down a little bit. Let's try to focus on one peg at a time here. So let's get this in. You can see that back peg here. Trying to navigate that back. Okay, so that's working. So now this front peg needs to get in underneath this portion right here. And that is going to be, there we go. So that's getting into place. The back peg's getting into place. Push it in. Push it in. Okay, you got to get around the wheel well with this back piece as well. So there you go. That arm is now in position, but you can see there's pressure pulling it outward. So I gotta rotate that peg so it's into the right spot. There we go. So if this is not flush against your radiator grill, it means that peg in the back hasn't seated properly into Optimus's waist. So I will now repeat the same thing on the other side here. We're just going to rotate this back, bring this forward, watch the peg in the back, try to kind of get it into the right spot, then focus on the front peg. You can bring the wheel well down a little bit more than you think you can. There you go, that gets in there. And again, can't have that extension going. And once it all lines up, okay, now again I've got my piece getting stuck there. So ironically, the easiest part of G1 transformation has now become the hardest part of Masterpiece transformation. But when you're done, everything should line up pretty tight. There shouldn't be any pressure to pull out here. And then you just rotate up these side pieces, and then these actually have a little peg on them which further keep everything together in the front. Same thing here, pegs on either side of the bumper that fit into the slots. Just bring those in. And then finally, we're going to bring down our smokestacks and out our mirrors. And if your feet have come apart in the process, you're going to fine tune everything now, kind of bring it together, bring the feet together. And that is kind of the least satisfying part of transformation for me, is how well those feet stay together. Alright, and there you have it, Optimus or Convoy in his truck mode. Some Convoy or Optimus toys come with a trailer. The trailer attaches via 2 pegs. You just put these jacks away. These 2 pegs that go into these 2 slots in the back. See them right there. Pretty easy to do if you don't have lights and a camera in front of your face. I'll see if I can do it real quick here. Let me just line up. There we go. Alright, and then once it's together, they can rotate. And there you go. There is Convoy / Optimus Prime with his trailer ready to roll out. Check out my full review on anymoon.com, and as always, thanks for watching.